Hi guys, this is a response video to Antony and Steven's videos. I'm not going to go real in depth here, I'm just going to hit on a few points. Okay, first off, the principles. I feel that why we should study the principles of them is because once we have the principles, we read it, we absorb it, we start making it part of everything we do, then we can adapt to the situations and apply the principles to everything that's done. That's why principles don't change, just the methods that they're applied do. And once we start integrating it into every aspect of our life, whether you're really into the samurai or just the ninjutsu aspect of it, Vikings, you're a woodworker, a machinist, an engineer, it doesn't matter. Once you start integrating it into your life and making it part of everything that you do, then it becomes more about who we are, and it becomes better ingrained into our thought processes. As far as modernization of skills go, of course skills are modernized. They're always modernized. They always have been. They always will be. But I think it's important that we learn the way that the ancient skills as well as modern ones. That way, because the more knowledge you have, the more able you are to adapt to any situation, no matter what you have on hand or what's laying around. That brings us into weapons and equipment. Not everyone's interested in learning every single little part of every single piece of equipment that the samurai used. Personally, I'm interested in that stuff, but not everyone is. But what's more important is that you know the purpose of those parts and what they're put there to accomplish. Because then if you have to make an in-field repair, or if you're making your own equipment, then if you know that that part serves such and such a function, then you can take what materials you have on hand and repair it, or when you're making it, then you make a better product, a more useful tool. And that's my thought on it, no matter what it is. The 7 Chinese classics. So many battles since Sun Tzu's Art of War were written is based off of it. Whether it's an offshoot of it or an offshoot of an offshoot, it has its main hub is in Sun Tzu's Art of War, and even in modern battles. Not all of them, of course. I mean, there's other principles and manuals out there, but so much is based off of it. I feel personally that it's very important that we study it and really not just read it, but really dissect it and take it apart and compare it to battles that we learn about in history, whether modern or ancient or both. Personally, really make it part of your life. I mean, Musashi, the Book of Five Rings. A lot of people like to talk about Musashi. They say that his Book of Five Rings, his principles are based off of the Art of War and merely adapted to single combat. I think that any of the skills we get could be adapted to anything. Training. It's very important that you build your strength, your flexibility, and your endurance. Do different exercises, what have you, but also train with different weapons. If you have access to swords, knives, firearms, train with them. If you don't have access to them, then do the best you can. Get sticks and use that as the spears and the swords and the knives. Go to the Toys R Us or whatever toy store you have locally and buy a toy gun and practice the principles of that. Archery is very important, I feel. You don't have shuriken, throw rocks, work on your aim. Just different things, anything you can think of. As far as martial arts go, It doesn't really matter what you learn if you're interested in the Bushi and the samurai, and that's where we're trying to go with this. That's fine, but it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that it's effective. And if you don't have enough experience to look at it and say, "Oh, I'm going to get killed using that," or "Hey, that's really good," then go try to study something that's used in a combative field today. Or if you're interested, or study the ancient ways. If you can find a school that teaches now that has as much of the old ways from actual battles in it as possible, then do that. Um, as far as studying goes, I think that we should study everything. I know that I try to. Um, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I think that not only should you study different methods of different weapons, battle tactics, um, get modern reading material as well. Army manuals, SAS manuals, it doesn't matter. Um, just study it all and try to understand as much as we can, and absorb as much as we can and make it part of everything, because you never know what situation will arise where you need a certain thing that you read in a book somewhere or learned in a 3-day class somewhere. It doesn't matter. Tracking is very important. Um, I can't tell you how many times I've used the skill of tracking, even in cities. It's just more difficult, but you know, it's there and it's important. Um, Science, chemistry, explosives, all stem from chemistry. Poisons, food, everything. Um, Learn how to cook if you don't know how already. Pick a few things out and learn how to prepare them really well to where you really like them. Um, it's important that we study all these things. How to fly aircraft, how to pilot any vehicle that you happen to be in. If you can't actually have access to those vehicles, buy the books and study those until you get a chance to. You might never apply it, but at least you'll know. Um, as well as, keeping up on basic things, your math, your grammar, spelling. I mean, I'm not trying to be a spell Nazi or anything, like a lot of people do online, but by keeping up on these skills, it prepares our mind better it helps it work in different ways. Um, Plus, the way you present yourself to people also has a huge impact. You may need to present yourself as a very uneducated person. That's easier to do if you're educated. However, it's very difficult to present yourself as a highly educated person or a highly placed person in society if you're undereducated and you don't pay attention to the way people do things in certain areas and adapt to apply it to whatever situation you're in. Um, a single operative is, I think everyone should be a single operative and be able to be completely self-sufficient, but also being able to work in teams, with a small team or a large team, because both things will come up as you go through life. And especially if you decide to do this for real, um, you're going to need to be able to do both. But everyone should be able to be a single operative. They should be able to just do whatever's necessary and not rely on anyone, or rely as little as possible on outside sources, just themselves. Okay, that's about it. Hope you guys take something away from it. Bye.